Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. We have a new residence. Attended the board meeting in the past. Excuse me for the scratchy throat. I don't know what's going on. First item on the list is the approval of minutes from a missing meeting. It's taken this long to transcribe from the video that was taken of that meeting. That meeting was done on July 8th of 2025, and our secretary has transcribed that as best, actually, Liz did, and passed it on to the secretary. At this time, invite a motion to accept.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. First thing before we get into the next item, we got a new person assigned as or volunteered as treasurer. An hour or so ago, we got a report that due to an unfortunate accident, she's not able to work right now. She, well, the whole truth is she was at the hospital with her husband, tripped and fell and broke her arm and her hand. So, and hand, bones in her hand. So she let me and Gail know and some others. And Gail did call me, graciously accepted to stay on until she's able to perform her duties. It's a lifetime appointment. So this time.
Yeah. I think I know a little bit about it. Okay. For that month, expenditures of $5,132.25. This included the normal utility bill, committee reimbursement, along with go with the flow. There are long and balances of $5,144.14 in our checking account. $187,907.97 in our savings account. That includes the obligated $31,702.90 for the federal, yeah, it probably is, financial reserve. So far for this fiscal year, we received 93.4% of our budgeted income, spent 36.5% our budgeted expenses. So we're doing good. Currently have a total of 243 lots in the development, 4 under construction.
Will you mail that to me? Please. Thank you.
You get the whole thing.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you, Gail. Motion.
I'll make a motion, we accept the August treasurer's report.
Second.
Subject to audit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion. Mhm.
When you say there's 243 lots, does anybody know how many families that represents? And is the 4 included in the 243? Do we have like 220 families? Because some people have double lots or something. Do we know how many families?
So that's 243 platted lots.
Right.
Some of them, you know, we've lost some lots over the years because people have merged lots, okay?
So if
The
somebody
merged
has,
lots are counted as a single lot.
oh, the double ones are. So that's 243 families roughly. that we have.
243 lots
Right.
have been purchased, okay? 214 have been built.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to back up for just a minute. We need to accept the minutes as published for August 12th board meeting.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of the August 12th board meeting.
Second, David. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Any other committee reports would be attached to the minutes and sent out to the public as soon as the minutes are approved. Under old business, well, we can kind of scratch the first item. We still thank Nancy for stepping forward and volunteering to take over the treasurer's report or treasurer's position. However, as I stated, she's not able to complete her duties at this time, so Gail has graciously said he would accept the challenge to stay on for that length of time. Next item is insurance coverage for high school kids to do work. We had last month briefly talked about maybe having like scout troops or the young Marines or somebody, invite them to come in and do menial tasks such as fleece the grounds, pick up tree leaves or twigs and stuff, pull weeds and so that sort of thing. And Mr. de Blasio did go to our insurance agent and queried him on that proposition. The insurance company came back and said they don't think that's a good idea. So at this time, I propose that that be stricken and we do not pursue that avenue. So any motions or notions from the rest of the board? Comments?
I'll make a motion.
We drop the item?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, I guess the next item is the items that I've discussed with the city streets commissioner, superintendent. Let me back up. He's the supervisor of streets, and he's still waiting on time to get to the spillway. He has intended to do that. He still intends to do it. And when I call him and talk to him, I apologize. And he says, don't apologize. If you don't keep calling me, it'll slip my mind. So I keep calling him every couple of weeks and kind of give him a little jingle. But they do intend to fix that on a permanent basis and make it look just like the other side of the spillway where you have a nice flat berm.
Ed,
Yes.
do we have a possibility that if this gets delayed too much longer, we're gonna get some washout under the road?
That's what he's worried about, and he's fully aware of that. And that is a possibility if we get any more of those monsoon rains. And that's why they agreed to take care of it right away. Any other comments, discussion? Anybody? The next one, fences. Well, I'll start the argument or discussion. About a week and a half ago, Lois Twig, our realty person with the gardens, contacted me, and they have a buyer with cash in hand. I'm sorry, you did several of these. For a property in phase 4, I believe it is. No, which one's got phase 4? This is 5 up here. They made an offer, and the offer is contingent on them being allowed to have a fence in the backyard for their 15-year-old Yorkie. What I gave Lois was a copy pretty much exactly like you see there. If you'll pass that around so everybody can see it. There's notes on it that it's not to exceed 3 feet in height. It's not to extend more than 10 feet from the back of their house. And it can never be made permanent. It can't be attached to the house, cannot have stakes into the ground. It is strictly a portable, temporary enclosure. So we succumbed to that because there is no other guidelines to go by at this time. But there's no way that I can stop them from having a temporary enclosure such as that. Anybody can have one. So just wanted everybody to know what's going on and why it was done.
Did Lois?
May
Yes.
I speak about fences? May I speak about fences?
Microphone.
For 28 years, we've been battling fences. I'm going to give you an idea of why the original DCR had in one little sentence, no fences. That has caused, right now, I think there's 5 pages of policy covering fences. Well, that's a big, long, expansion for no fences. The reason there were no fences in the original DCR, still in there, by the way, was that the original DCR was for a condominium complex. Okay. That meant that everybody that bought a unit did not own any of the land. You just own your 0 lot line, okay? Footprint of your house, footprint of your house. Very soon after, I don't know, first 5 or 6 people moved into phase 1, they realized the developer had no idea about he thought everybody would be gone for 9 months a year. Well, that concept went haywire. I think on the 6th or 7th person that bought a house in phase 1, and they wanted a state house built on nature. Wow. Next one that came in, the same thing, and it just moved the rest from there. Very quickly, he amended the first and withdrew it as a condominium complex, as a planned unit development. And that when lots were flat, it could be bigger, and the person that built the house on the lot would own a lot. That's a big change. The reason the fences are in there, even after the second, or the First Amendment to the DCR, he had a long point for the whole area. People could, through the treasurer, get along. See, he can just run the whole thing. People that are he just thing go amend the DCR and take those few words out. Because they're all so why don't we cut the crap and stop writing about it? Get about it.
I think it's really important that we recognize what people said about this year. And, I spent a lot of time on the last few weeks reading through the documents, looking at things. That seems to be lucid anyway. So, yeah, this is maybe guidelines. You could go out and do things, do anything about it. So I agree with Gail that I think we need to put this thing in. I think that my personal opinion is that I would like to see some guidelines. Like you have to stay within your property lines. And fences can only be in the backyard. It's like that. But, and they have to be, you know, compatible or look decent. You know, you can't just put up anything out there like a chain link fence or a triple concertina fence or something. But I think that really we need to move along and put this thing behind us.
Yeah, you could have the policy one page.
Yes, sir.
Less than one page.
Again, it's just follow the guidelines.
Joe, are you getting anything right now? Joe, go ahead and unmic your, I paused the meeting for just a moment. Go ahead and can you hear me, Joe? Joe, I'm not, are you still on the phone? Can you, yeah, I wasn't listening on the phone. I'm looking at, can you hear me? Give me some feedback. I don't know what's going on. I can't tell.
Okay, I'll turn my mic on. It's now gotten a little better.
Hear us?
Yes. Yeah. I don't hear anything now. It's very soft.
This is not your hand.
We'll have to do the best that we can. It's my better input. It is what it is. I don't think we have anything set up wrong. Just so if you can try to talk a little bit louder, just to compensate for bad equipment.
Can you hear us all right, Joe? Yes, I can hear you now, if you speak loud and clearly. We'll do our best. Okay.
Anyway, the policy that they have there is basically it's one page and it says that you have to put up a fence. If you want to put up a fence, it has to stay within your property lines, no taller than 4 feet, and it has to have at least an entry on both sides. And so that you get in from either side. Of course, there are single family houses there. And it has to be a black wrought iron or aluminum fence. That's it. As far as the rest of things like landscaping fences and all that, they don't even address those nowadays.
Do they allow wood fences at all, or just,
It's landscaping, yes.
I mean, like for salt?
Not all the way around, fence, but for landscaping, yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant, but not, like one house back has a 4 or 5 foot high fence all around the backyard of solid wood. That wouldn't be legal in Brentwood.
No neighborhood fences. No, they don't allow private, they don't have privacy fences or, picket fence. That's, they specify that one kind. And then well, I'm sorry, they don't allow privacy fences there, because that's one place, other people have other things. And like Gail's talking about, most other like condominium type places, they don't have this, that's good because they provide all the ground maintenance and everything. So, but whatever we can do to move it forward, because just like this one, this is the sale of somebody's home, it's contingent. And we've already got a lot of homes up for sale. We're over 14 right now, with probably another 2 to 3 that I'm aware of that probably would by the first of the year. That's a lot of homes to have up for sale for this small community. And some of these are friends who need moved for various reasons, family reasons or other reasons they need to get moved. And I don't think we want to get involved where we're going to impede or interfere with the sale of the home because
on there, working in there on the architectural committee. And for one thing, the privacy fences, if you're on the edge of the property of our group or our community, you're bordering another community, you are allowed to have a privacy fence. That's no problem there. But as far as regular fences, I know that Pat Soltis and other people, David Wong, have set up guidelines. I don't know where those guidelines have been, and why can't we just use those, like basically saying either black or white aluminum fencing, and it can't be over 3 or 4 feet, whatever it is. And no, I think if I remember correctly, it couldn't go past the building, like it couldn't go all the way to the edge of the property. And, I mean, you don't want it to be a big one, most of them want it for their dog. You just want an area for your dog to be able to go out. So I believe there should be some guidelines already made up that have been set. I don't know why it keeps taking more longer and longer. And I also think that maybe we should just take a quick vote and find out what's the percentage of people that want fences and the percentage of people that don't want fences. If nobody wants the fences, then there's nothing to worry about. If there's people that want the fences, then you can go by that. So that's what I think.
Thank you, George. Liz?
I am one of 3 people who is on the committee to create a survey to ask the people in the neighborhood what they find acceptable. And it is based on the architectural committee's plan, their proposal, because it is a sound basis for going forward and developing a policy. And we need to know whether people are willing to accept it or not. And we're meeting on Monday to move it forward.
Liz,
Yes.
when you do that, could I be involved? Because there's technical limitations on the survey.
Okay.
How we structure it.
Okay.
If we all get copies, because I've never seen any, I can't find any guidelines, that's what.
Well, they weren't.
I sent it to you.
I've never received it.
I think it was attached to what, the April board meeting?
Well, it wasn't on the board.
Yeah, I know, but-
It out recently.
But maybe you've got April board meeting's minutes, you didn't realize that the fencing policy was at the end.
Okay,
Okay. Dale?
I want to tell you right now, there's no sense in sending that survey into phase 1 through 5. Because nobody's interested in building a fence in that phases. I'm just saying, I don't really know for sure. But I can tell you right now, the majority of people who respond to a survey are going to say, no, I don't want it. I don't care about fence.
But we need to hear everybody.
Yeah, okay.
We can send out a survey that's segregated and identified by phase out of the respondent to the survey.
Why would you do that? You send it to everybody. You don't know who's gonna sell a house over here in phase 5.
Okay, I'll be the dissenting vote. I don't want fences. I think the beauty of the gardens, as you come through Gardens Drive, there are no fences. Right. And that, I think, is what brings people into the gardens. I understand about the houses being for sale, but as one president said years ago when we first moved here, he said, we have rules. We have the DCRs. At that point, there was yard lights. There were some people who didn't want yard lights. He said, it's very simple. The DCR says you will have a yard light. He said, if you don't like that, don't move to the gardens. You're right. Phases 1 through 5, I'm just one person in phase 3. I don't want to see fences all along. I think that would destroy the look.
I feel the same way. Thing is, it's like, say somebody wants to put a fence up on my yard, to have a dog. Well, are they gonna take care of the grass that's growing on my side that's up high too? No, it has to be weed whacked and everything else.
The policy what the policy recommends is that there is an offset on both sides. It cannot go to the edge of the house so that there are provisions made for maintenance.
If it's still gonna come on my.
It's not going to be on your side.
It's on your property owner, you gotta take care of both sides.
What it says right now, I believe it's a 5 or 6 foot offset, but it cannot go within 5 or 6 feet of the edge of their house, so there's going to be that spot that would not be against your property.
I'd like to make a comment here. We're talking about fences. And this all started because we talked about Mrs. Dog fence. and George commented on a boundary fence between the gardens and the other community. Let me suggest we all be very careful when we use the word fence. There are all kinds of fences. So the question is what kind of fence is it you're talking about that you either agree with or don't agree with? Privacy fences, dog fences, fences around hot tubs.
And that's what we've got to address.
So if we talk about fences, please be specific what kind of fence you are talking about.
One board comment.
Okay, I believe that if you see what fences mean, it's an area that's enclosed.
I understand what the word means,
Right.
but enclosed for what purpose?
Doesn't matter what the purpose is, as long as you're enclosing your yard. If you have a fence on one side only, you're not enclosing anything. But you have, like, if you put it from your house all the way around, it's an enclosure.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what you want to call it for, it's the restrictions that you're gonna put the fence. You should wire your aluminum, and that's it. It doesn't matter if it's a garden fence, or it doesn't matter if it's a vegetable garden, it's still an enclosure, and that's what a fencing technically is.
What the architectural committee submitted was a policy on pet fences. That again is another factor that we've got to consider. Is it acceptable to have fences for other reasons? So as you can see, and the reason you guys haven't heard from the fence committee is because the more we dig, the more factors we find to consider. So it's going to be a multifaceted thing. We're going to have to do short bits of surveys. We're not going to throw out 100 questions at a time. But there is a lot to consider, and we've got to consider everyone. We can't consider my feelings or somebody else, specific feelings. We've got to look at all of it, and we've got to look at everyone's opinion.
Well, why do we care what the fence is for? If we say it can't be more than 3 feet, it's gonna be black or silver, and it cannot be more than 5 feet from the neighbor's property, and it has to be within 10 feet of the house. Whatever term you want to use it for, it's none of our business.
I agree with that, but it was defined as pet fencing
Yeah,
in
but
the privacy.
if we change it, we just eliminate that and say,
Well, yeah.
here's what you have, here's the fence. But the parameters on it.
It's that issue of health and handicap limitations of some of the residents. We may need testing for that. Now, 20 years ago, our leaders didn't have any pets. Every damn RVer that I know has at least one. Some have more than one. And a lot of them carry pets with them when they're traveling. And it's become a common thing. We have, that's what this is, it's an RV community. And you're going to have people who have pets, and there's going to be some of us that get to the point where we can't manage more than getting them outside, but we're not going to get rid of that. That's their child. Okay? And so I think that I'm more in line with what Gail said is let's try to stop stipulating and surveying and just say use common sense. And if somebody and maybe use some basic guidelines, but don't get into trying to define it. Everybody understands the boundary fence. Yes, it's got to be taken care of. We've got to be able to help people with that part.
We're working on it.
But I think I'm one of those that reasonable accommodation, let people live their lives. And that's kind of where I come from.
Did this satisfy?
I don't know, I haven't had a chance to talk to Lois.
Okay.
Is that a fence or is that a dog kennel?
It's a play yard.
It's just
Dog kennel.
No, it's a play yard. It doesn't, a kennel has a top on it. This does not have any top and bottom.
Okay.
It's like that, yes. like puppy jail.
Is that something the homeowner submitted?
No,
Mm-mm.
no, I did. I submitted this to a realtor to give to the other people's realtor to see if that would satisfy their desire to purchase a home and put up a temporary enclosure. I don't know what kind of fence they expected to put up. That was never stipulated, was never passed on to me. I offered this as an alternative because we don't have a policy, a set policy. So it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. Best I can do is give them a temporary and let it go at that. I think we beat this up enough. Liz, can we realistically expect something before the next board meeting?
No. Not realistically. I mean, we can put a component of it together and have that ready, but no, realistically, there are so many things. There are governing documents from the city and ours in the DCRs and the policies. Like Gail said, there's pages of it. And there are so many factors to consider that, no way. I would love to say yes. I'd love to get this over with because quite frankly, it's become a pain in my rear. But, well, it's only been, I've only had it for 2 months, but, one factor, one part of it, yes, we can have it ready for next month.
If it takes that long, it's too complicated.
That's right, right.
If it's taking that long.
Well, if we could come to a conclusion within this room, I'm glad to say, yeah, I can have something ready. But I promise you, there are way too many opinions, and there are a lot of strong opinions. It's not as easy as you make it sound, David.
I guess what I'm saying is, yes, there's 243 opinions out there, plus wives and husbands. If you're going to try to do this based on opinion, we'll never get there.
But opinions need to be considered as one part of it.
No. You're trying to find the opinion. Isn't that what a survey is for?
I'm looking for people to
Find
find
the
the
opinion.
Why don't you put something out on the
Why
internet?
would it be an issue with creating the survey when you're out trying to find what the opinion is?
What would you
Maybe I
suggest?
don't know what a survey is.
What would you suggest that we start with?
I say, put it out on the internet and ask the people here,
Sure.
As how to measure what they say back.
see what they say. So do you want to,
If we say yes or no, we've got yes or no, and we've got a large percentage of yes or no. But if you get all those comments, what do you do with it? You do not have any quantifiable data, and you need to know. 78% said no. That kind of thing. So
Okay.
we've got to ask more than just very.
We did something that,
The type of, what kind of fence? Do
we just, that's all been discussed numerous times. One more question and then we close it.
I just want to put an opinion. This has been going on for an awful long time. I think at some point, I know you want opinions of everybody. That was our gripe previously, that nobody ever listened to us and heard us. However, times are changing, times have changed. Like he mentions, most people have pets, some people don't have pets. There's going to be somebody that's going to say yes, and there's going to be somebody that says no. At this point, I think it's up to the board members to make a decision on whether yes or no. Then you put out there a point of, this is the standard fence. If you want, a fence is something that is permanent, right? A pet fence is something that is not permanent. So it can be moved and it can be taken away completely.
Okay.
I just feel that going back for a survey is not going to get anywhere because we are in a community of faces. I don't see it that way. We're a community. So if 1 through 5 says no, but 6 or 8 or whatever, then says yes.
That's enough. We argued this long enough. Okay, we'll make a decision right now. we're going to have a work session of the board, and we are going to sit down and we're going to come up with a policy, and that will be it. No more he says, she says, what says. It's going to be a definite policy and done with it.
Right.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the estimate for removing the dead trees. A lot of different opinions, well, several different scenarios, let's put it that way. We've been told by the tree people that the trees are dying because of a possible infestation of some kind of a beetle. Okay? We thought about taking just the dead trees and leaving the other ones until we have budgeted more money in the account for taking out trees. However, if we leave them and they got the bugs in them, they're just going to keep going to other trees. So we'll look like a cow pasture out down the. So I'm asking the board, do we want to, I think we're approaching being in the red on the budget. So do we want to go ahead?
Just that line, one line.
Right.
In the category that line item is in, you're well in. Now, somebody suggested, I think it was Chris, because he's the grounds person now.
Yes,
He said, we gotta move some money in the budget. No, you don't move money in the budget once it's approved, okay? And the reason is, if you go over on a line item, that's a good indication. You better check that and make sure it's a little bit more next year.
Right.
If you start moving money around in the budget,
The
budget was actually spent. Okay? So that's enough. Treasurer will not change the budget. Now the treasurer will, this line item, I think, see what we got left in that.
$600 if I remember, Gail.
Trees. $600.
Okay.
The estimates, how much did the estimate?
4,300 to take down 10 trees.
Okay.
Yes, it's very cheap.
That line item will show way over budget. That's okay, because the category that's in, total area maintenance, total common area maintenance, still got $45,764 in it available to spend. That means that does not mean just a line item in that category can't go over the budget.
Right.
Okay? As long as I look at the category when we approve a budget and when we start spending money against the budget, don't ever think about moving money during the year. That's the worst thing you can do.
Okay, Gail, a question on that. If you take out the plan or forecast expenditures for grounds between now and the end of the fiscal year, where do we stand? Are we still in the black or?
The line item, tree maintenance and removal,
That, I know we're way
that will
over.
be way over. But with 45,000 remaining in the whole category, common area maintenance, I don't think we'll spend that.
Well, we have mowings for the rest of this year, plus maybe some next year, before the budget takes a hold.
Right?
Will that cause us to exceed that overall
Let's see,
account?
Mowing, we've got 14,200 left in the budget, and we're only 3 months away from the season when we stop mowing for the winter. We're all right there.
So if we take all the line items under common area maintenance, we're still plenty in excess that we can afford to take that money and do the trees.
Yeah, the only other line item that usually gets close or over budget is the lighting. 'Cause Jim underestimates it.
For yard lights, security lights, okay,
Security lights.
okay. Well,
Again, I think we're all right.
okay, well, based on the projection that Gail has given us and the fact that we don't want to lose all the trees because we didn't act, I'd like for someone to make a motion. We go ahead with getting these trees taken down. The contractor has agreed to do it on September 22nd.
I'll make such a motion.
Okay,
Second.
second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Janine, there's a question.
Did the contractor indicate how to prevent the other trees?
He's not an arborist. He's just a tree trimming company.
Do we think we'd catch an endangered tree, you think?
We don't know.
Reason I ask is we had the same problem on our farm where we just let, and it like whack-a-mole. You don't identify the whole population of trees that are starting to go, getting that ones out, it's just, then you start again with 4 more that should have been taken. It's a difficult problem, but you need somebody to say that's enough trees to keep it from, otherwise you have that expenditure over and over again, and bringing out the equipment is a big part of that expenditure.
You can always replant.
Yeah.
Didn't tree, stump grinding too?
So who?
Yes.
Yes, that's it. Stump grinding, hauled away, everything.
Everything down,
Yep.
ground.
It's good for us.
The Tennessee agriculture down here, I think they will come out and request
Yes.
to look at different trees and see what they would say about that.
Right.
Extension agents.
Maybe, giving Gail a suggestion, maybe we should have them, see if we can get them to come out and look at the trees before they're taken down.
Would you like to do that, please?
I can do that. And Gail, can you give me a contact or?
Just look up it's the office, I believe, next to the post office.
There's the,
Tennessee Agricultural.
Okay.
yeah, it's the agricultural extension.
Yeah, there you
agent.
go. Agricultural.
And it's from University of Tennessee, and they have people.
Would you please do that? And I'm gonna see if you can get somebody out. Appreciate that, Steve.
Did that include the dead trees on the city right away?
Yes, it does. So they've all got ribbons on them. And one of them is in the bank of the pond. It has to come out, so that's included in that. The other one is the estimates for the clubhouse sidewalks and the brickwork on the face of the
We need to
porch.
vote on the estimate for removing the trees. We had a motion, but we haven't voted.
Oh.
I thought we did.
I thought we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm not paying attention.
Well, thank you, because sometimes I miss things. The other one, like I said, is the clubhouse sidewalk and brick area that, at this time, I don't see it posing a hazard, although someone else has emailed me and said they think it is a major hazard. The sidewalk leading from the parking lot into the steps has sunk, and the steps themselves have sunk and pulled away from the porch slightly. And the reason this was brought up originally was I said something to Buzz about the big cracks between the brick and the porch floor. That, that's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. The more water gets in there in wintertime, it freezes, pushes it apart. That wasn't the problem. The problem is that the steps sunk and pulled the brick with it. The two estimates, both people that came out and looked at it said that they think when they raise the steps back up, the brick will come some ways, and then they'll seal the remaining crack. The other part of it is the ramp. It started on SAG also. And it's down a little over an inch. And that's pretty easy to bring up with the modern equipment they use today. I've had both of my porches raised recently. Did a wonderful job. They'll drill a 3/8 inch hole, size your finger. So, in that, we have two estimates. We get to figures. One is $2,643, and the other one, where did it go? No, the other one is 33 something. Let me find it here.
29.
Well, you know, fingers don't work. Monkey in the football. Yes, it's 3,300. Just over 3,300. So there is a little bit of a disparity. Chris is the one that met with the two companies and talked to them. He was more impressed with the higher bid, but both companies professed to use exactly the same products and the same methods. So I've also had other people, even board members, that have used the company that gave us the lesser bid, and they were satisfied with the work. So I see no reason to spend an additional $700 or whatever to have the work done. But I'll leave it up to the board. Does anybody have comments or suggestions? Should we go ahead with this or let it go till next year?
Well, are we talking about going ahead with it now or doing it later so we can put it in the budget for 25,
That would have to be next year.
26, 27?
That would have to be next year, and that's a possibility. I don't think they're gonna sink out of sight between now and then.
There's $831 in the clubhouse maintenance, which the maintenance line item would be the one I would put this under, because there's no other line item really fits. Except, I don't want to go down to landscaping, because,
No.
although if you look at that,
No, I think it needs to stay in the clubhouse repair, and that's why I'm asking the board,
but let the board also think about, you mentioned that somebody said it might be a danger. Is that correct? I don't know for the lady's high heel to get caught in.
yes, it absolutely is.
I don't think that's it. I don't really think that's an issue with practice.
Let's let that go.
All I'm saying is that, can it be considered a safety issue?
The crack that I saw that would possibly be a trip hazard is at the bottom of the bottom step, within 2 inches of the step. If your heel is that close and you trip over it, you're gonna fall anyway. So, but that's my opinion, and opinions are what they are.
I would say that we put this on the table, put in next year's budget. That way we're not.
Make a motion.
Make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we table this for now and put it in, plan it for next year's budget.
Second?
By the
Well,
way,
the price will be different then.
Yeah, it may be higher by then, but
by the way, the budget call will go out before the 1st of October.
yeah, that's,
You know what I mean about a budget call?
It's on here.
That means
On our agenda.
where all the committee chairpersons have the opportunity to say, I need some money.
yeah, we've got that on the agenda, Gail, but thank you. All in favor, or we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the last item on old business is the proposed amendment to a bylaw, Article 4, Section 3. It was brought up, last meeting? Yes, that we add some paragraph C under the removal of a sitting board member. That any board member that is removed with or without cause by a majority vote of the membership shall be ineligible to serve on the board of directors for a period of X years. We have a copy here of a proposed survey that could be sent out virtually almost immediately, I think. And it lists a choice of 4 items. Do not amend the bylaw. Amend the bylaw with a 3-year disbarment. Amend the bylaw with a 5-year disbarment. Or amend the bylaw with permanent disbarment. Several of the board members, in fact, all of us at one time or another, that other corporate organizations, if you're voted off the board of directors, you're never allowed to come back. That would be my personal recommendation, but it was put out to find out what the general population of the gardens thinks would be appropriate. So at this time, you all got a copy of this.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we strike the first option that says we do not need this amendment.
That's an option.
I don't feel it's an appropriate option.
Doesn't matter.
And don't vote for it.
I would say that first one that says, do not amend the bylaw, we don't need this amendment. I think we could just simplify it, just do not amend the bylaw, period. And then leave the other
Can you do that, Dick? Take off just the last? Okay. We'd need a motion, or I'd like to get this settled and get it done.
I make a motion that we send it out with that change.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Dick, I'll get you a copy written right now.
Can I ask a question? What do you want to do with the results? You want to immediately public? You want to
How about give the results back to the board,
only to the board?
and then we'll announce it from there? That,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems appropriate.
would you pass this over to Dick? Thank you, Dick. Thank you, everybody. Okay, in and on about new business. First thing under new business is the info about property transfers, which basically there's 3 or 4 pieces of property that we're talking about transferring. I've had one formal and one informal meeting with Tim Wilson, the developer. Very favorable. He's in agreement to do a lot of
Okay,
things.
mean from developer to HOA?
Yes. Yeah. And others. And there is one property on Holly Tree that apparently the 2 adjoining owners on either side of the vacant lot desire to own that lot. So he is actively pursuing doing just that. So that will not come to the HOA. Will not be responsible for maintenance on that lot. The other lot, he's ready to transfer it to either the HOA or the 2 adjoining property owners if they want it. He's out of town, out of state for 2 weeks. And he asked me if I wanted to go talk to 2 property owners to see if they would be interested in it. I have not had a chance to get up there and talk to him yet. So that property will either go to the two property owners adjacent or to the HOA. And we'll start mowing it immediately if he transfers it.
Those are a lot. You talk about 619 and 620, right?
No,
No.
no.
Between McCullough's and.
The one between,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Remember the second line you were talking about?
the second lot is the one between McCullough's and Godfrey. Okay, and I really don't know what their feelings are, whether they want them or not. I really didn't want to start giving out names because, you know, that it's a negotiation thing, but here it is.
Well, I did 619, 620. I didn't do name.
Yeah, I know. Those two lots can also be transferred to the HOA. And they don't need any special preparation. They're just flat lots and they're mowed and they're acceptable. But,
Well, they're not exactly flat.
Yeah,
Well-
finish all that piping work that he's doing.
no, they're not on it. The piping work is on his own property. It's different. The lots don't involve the pipes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, are these lots unbuildable or something?
No,
They are buildable lots.
they are buildable, but they are not buildable. Okay, I'll explain that. The party in phase 6 purchased 2 lots behind their home with the intention of not building on them, so they had clear space behind them. They turned around and immediately quitclaimed those to the developer with the understanding in writing in the deed that,
Nothing in the deed.
I have all the paperwork also.
Okay.
And
If you find something.
there is a stipulation that they're not to be built on.
It was stipulated that they were to be given
That
to.
they're to be given to the HOA. And a private or prior board apparently told the developer, give them to us, we'll sell them immediately. And I don't think that that's doable.
No,
With,
that was never discussed with the previous board.
Hmm?
That was never discussed with the previous board. No.
somebody, well, a previous board,
Okay.
okay? I don't know which one, this is just, it was put out there. So it was never transferred. So those 2 lots are available to be transferred. Takes a little time to go through everything. They have to be surveyed and platted, and then they can be advertised to us to take them over. And I think it's 180 days. That gives us time to prepare a budget item to take care of those lots. Now, the HOA can build on the lots as far as gazebos, activities, sporting activities or whatever, but you can't put up a structure for a home and a garage.
This is over phase 6.
You're, just to clarify, you're talking about 2 lots beside the war property?
Yes, well, across the ditch from Moore, yes.
Yes.
Right next to them.
Yeah.
Those 2.
Well, it's not next to him. There's an area between Moore and these 2 lots that is owned by Tim Wilson, separate property.
Yeah, okay. I know they're along the war, but those, that big empty lot,
Mhm.
to the back of their.
The next to, I had to think, there's a Lang and Long. Okay. But that's the deal on the transfers. There is, I'm going to switch 2 things here. There is the possibility of changing the DCRs for phases 6 through 8. And the developer is in somewhat of agreement to release some of his guidelines and make concessions to improve things with phase 6 through 8 residents. I'm working on a draft of those changes. I don't have it completed yet. I have one written up the way I think it should go. And I have to get back to Tim with that in 2 weeks and see if it's agreeable with him. I'll try to get the other one done yet this week so that I can get it to him at the same time. Those two changes would be to partially eliminate the requirements of the restrictions on signs. The other one will be to somehow relieve some of the restrictions.
That's related to real estate for sale signs.
Well, it's signs in general.
But that'll cover that.
Yeah. And the other item will cover some relief in the requirement to use only a RV professional realtor as defined by the declarant as him, basically. So we're trying to get those two done. We're working on it. That's all I can promise anybody. Any discussions, any inputs?
As far as the empty lots and whether or not they would be desired to have them transferred, has the board ever considered using one of the empty lots to make a dog park?
Yeah, we bought the
We've talked about
5 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's been discussed and.
Yeah.
Now, the survey went out recently.
A survey went out, the survey came back and said, no dog parks by the HOA.
So we really don't want to maintain a dog park. It's expensive. And it's another liability. If there's no more discussion on those two items, back to what Gail mentioned a while ago, it is time for us to be aware that the budget meeting has to take place around October.
Just to follow up there, these are preliminary things that Ed and Don are working on with the developer. There are other things that are involved in 6, 7, and 8 that they're working on and that haven't been finalized yet, like how we're going to deal with the Holly Tree Pond and all that area up in there as well. So there's other things being worked on, not just.
Yeah, it's not just one or two items. There's a list of them. And I think that all went out in my communique of what's happening. I think I touched on most of it there. There is some discussion between the developer and Don and myself, or I should say the board, regarding the Holly Tree Pond, the possibility of him doing some work to the place and making it so that it is usable or be able to maintain it, and also the possibility of putting a fountain in that pond. We have a fountain, but there is no electricity right now at the edge of the pond to wire it to. So that would be a consideration that possibly the HOA would go into cooperation with the developer and get the electricity run over and put the fountain in. I don't know how soon that's going to work. There's a lot of other considerations with that piece of property that make it, at this point, right now, it's undesirable. So there's got to be a lot of work done to it. And until we can get all that work done, it's not going to be transferred over. Is that clarified?
There's other things being worked on.
Yeah, there's that and just the general maintenance of the areas. And I think it's mainly in phase 8 that hasn't been attended to. Is that correct?
Caught up quite a bit now.
Yeah, yes, he's hired, Tim hired another gentleman to run the tractor board, and guy's done a lot of work. I know she's cleaned up a lot of the construction areas. He's cleaned up a lot of the areas that weren't getting mowed. There are some areas that may not get mowed. They may just become grassland, like the tops of the, I guess it's called a berm on the Red Oak entrance. That takes a tremendous amount of manpower to get out there and weed eat and what have you. Although there's some areas that we still need to try to get him to clean up, so we're working with him on that. Also, the next item, unless there's something else somebody's got. Several months ago,
Next to scheduling budget meeting,
yes, sir,
and go back to scheduling the budget meeting.
Right.
we can, yeah. Are you gonna help with that this year?
Oh, yeah, it's not, I didn't think I had to, but I.
Your thoughts.
Before virtual meetings, we have to have the budget. Because everybody left in November, December, January, and February. Okay. Now with virtual meetings, that's sort of gone away, okay, and I'm glad. But you still have to have the next fiscal year budget approved by 31 December. Okay. The reason for that is at the 1st of January, treasurer starts dealing with the next fiscal year annual invoices. Now, to create the invoices, you need to know what the assessment is going to be for each lot. So that's the reason for the December 31. Because when I send out the invoices the 3rd week of February, it gives me January to prepare all the stuff, get it done. So that's the sort of the schedule we need to do. What I always did was usually at the end of September, 1st week in October, I put out the budget call as to all of the committee chairpersons. Do you have a line item? You do? What's the money you need for next year? That type of thing. And I do that before we actually have a budget meeting so that we know a little bit about what's really going on. Okay? So the budget, the first meeting with the board on the budget would probably be 2nd week in October.
Prior to the next, open board meeting?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
That would be good because that way, I can put out the budget call a little earlier this year, like a week or so earlier, and then we'll have that information. Pass over, kick around on the first budget meeting.
Okay. You can get that out like the 1st week of October, the budget call?
I'll do it the last week of this month.
Okay. And then, once we get that, you can let us know that you've got your information and we'll schedule a work session and get it together.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Gail. A couple of months back, a delegation from the Gardens residents was put together and they went to numerous organizations within the city and gathered some very, very valuable information. And Dennis, you were, I think, one of the persons in that delegation. Would you?
Dave and Ken and Rick and all.
We need a copy of it and give us your information.
Well, basically the Ken Wurmberger and Rick went to the fire department and the water and talked to the fire chief and basically said that the water pressure in 6 through 8 is fine. He's overly confident that it can handle any fire. One of the issues is that during the day, the pumps are on at the station right down the street. At night, what they do during the day is fill up the big water tower. At night, they turn the pumps off at around 6 because the water towers are full and it would just not take the water. If there's a fire here or anywhere in this area that uses those hours, the first thing they do is turn the pumps on. So you may not feel the same water pressure at night. And basically it's in 6 through 8, but it's because the pumps are off. So, and also I think we're talking about regulators in the homes. Some places have a restrictor for the bathroom, the kitchen. I'm not sure if that, did you ever find that out there?
No, I'm getting very.
You know, so I think that could be a problem in some of the houses. But basically, the fire chief confirmed that you have no problem with the water pressure. And that the other thing about that is that at the water department, they told them that what we have now platted for development will still be fine. However, if the developer buys any more land to make future phases, they have to tap another water source. So it's either going to be at the end of the hill going down where Holly Tree ends, where the burn pile is, going across there to Kingsgate, or somewhere else across North Side Drive.
When you say turn pumps off at night, so that means that all the pressure's coming from the water
Or
tower?
tower.
That's correct.
Right. So because said there's no way to continue pumping it because the water tower's full.
Right.
So-
That would result in damage to the pumps if they continue to run those.
Saves the pumps and everything.
So the idea of the whole project was, is there, and the other part I forgot, the RV park that's being built, they're going to tap at the initial entry to the gardens.
Red Oak.
Red Oak, but what they're doing is taking, I think it's a 5-inch pipe to a 2-inch pipe. That's gonna go to the RV park. So it's not gonna be the big, right, the volume control. So just to ease any, fears that if they do that, we'll have no water pressure. So everything that they found out is from the horse's mouth. So, we seem to be looking pretty good.
Say something about the fire hydrant.
Yeah, I was just
Oh,
going to
yeah,
mention that, yeah.
The fire hydrants have reason for the color of the top of the fire hydrant. It depends on the pressure in the area that it's in. Red, fine. One of the new residents, their fire hydrant was right by the house and it was chipped. So they painted it orange or something, whatever it was. And they said, no, you really can't do that, because if the fire departments, they look at the hydrant and say, oh, we don't have pressure here. But we do, we need to call a pump or something. But they went around and looked, and I think they corrected it, or did they?
Every 5 years, they'll go, or I'm sorry, it may not be 5, every so many years, they go through the entire gardens and test every hydrant. And they just completed that recently. And they concluded that there's 20 or 21 hydrants total. And every one of them are now painted with an orange top. The orange top is between 500 and 999 gallons per minute sustained. So that is more than enough to put out any type of fire, according to the fire chief, that we would experience in the gardens. So it's a very favorable report,
And people should not paint their fire hydrants.
no, never paint a fire hydrant.
And I think the other thing that the chief talked about was the batteries for electric vehicles, electric bikes, electric, they're concerned about that just in general, like anybody else, where these batteries they're not as extinguished, they can reactivate.
Rekindle.
Yeah, rekindle that thing.
Thank you.
Thank you, fireman. So there's more to it, but that's what I can remember. Because like I say, Rick and, Ken and Dave Deming, you know, they did all the work.
All right.
Morning. In terms of accuracy, that statement is not true. Okay? So I don't like being on TV. Does it say it makes you 10 pounds heavier? This is true. I know this because I was at each and every meeting. I know this because I set up each and every meeting. Okay? Rick Abbey came to me and said, you deal with city council. Let's go back a little bit. About 8 months ago, I set up a tour of the city offices. Was anybody there? Part of that tour, I sent out an email to the community, said, what type of questions would you have for city officials? Okay, I consolidated those questions so that we had an idea before we went down there, and approximately maybe a dozen people came. One of those stops was at the city engineer's office, Tim Begley. Okay, because one of our, I'll get to the point here in just a second. One of our residents had a major complaint because he said there wasn't enough water pressure at the end of Holly Tree, okay? And his insurance company was threatening to cancel his insurance because he could not sustain a single family house fire, okay? Begley said, well, he reviewed how the water system works here, and he said that the city is not going to do much about it because it's on developer land. And he gave us the following options. This is Tim Begley, almost a year ago. He said, well, you can live with it, okay, because we've tested the water pressure up there, and it's sufficient, according to National Fire Prevention Association standards, to fight a single-family house fire. And oh, by the way, there's only been one fire in the gardens in 25 years.
Knock on wood.
Okay? Knock on wood.
Thank you.
Second of all, conduct your heavy, you're going to be using city water, conduct your heavy use of water during the day when you have adequate pressure because they only run one shift at the plant. Thirdly, I priced out and passed to Rick Abbey an option where you can have your own pressure tank. You can have 110 pounds pressure, you can have 150 pounds pressure. Under $2,000 buying stuff at Lowe's. Okay? And fourthly, the subject of the hydrants. Okay? So, Tim Begley, almost a year ago, with Gardens residents attending. Rick Abbey came to me and said a few months ago, well, there's a constant complaint from people who live on Holly Tree, the low water pressure. Would you set up a meeting with Public Works? Which we did. Billy Poor, Director of Public Works, his guys run around in the trucks, measuring water pressures. Okay? Very informative. And Wordberger was there. I don't know if you're talking about Dave Deming. I haven't seen him at any meeting, so.
No, he was doing,
Okay.
That's a different portion
he was
of the
doing it
report.
well.
Very well, but he wasn't at these meetings.
Right.
Okay? I stopped by there, set up the meeting, we went down, I wrote notes. As did Rick Abbey, and Ken Wernberger asked questions. Very informative about how the water system here works. It is correct that the gardens, as it's laid out now, cannot expand without doing something about the water. Okay? The city had design issues at one time to run a new 12-inch line down Northside Drive. But there's no requirement to do it. Okay? And then also, getting back to Tim Begley, he said, who wants a big water tank in their backyard in the gardens to improve your pressure? It is true about the line going to the new campground there. It's a 2-inch line coming off the end of the line up here. Okay, but Mr. Poor doesn't think that's gonna have any effect on our water pressure.
What we said.
Okay, that's what you said. So, and getting to the hydrants, you're absolutely correct about the pressures, the hydrants. They come around, the state of Tennessee requires municipalities to test water hydrants every 3 years. Okay? Which it appears to me they're recently done. Okay? Almost every hydrant in here, there used to be one up on Juniper Lane that was red because it has not been tested yet. I think that's changed. Almost every hydrant of the 20, which is accurate, are orange, except the one right behind that building over there, Highway Drive, is green, which is the highest pressure. Okay, I believe. So,
Blue is the highest.
okay, it's green. Okay, and it is accurate that one of our new neighbors went out and chipped it away and turned it white, primed it white, which the Public Works said, now don't do that again, which he, okay? So I just wanted to clarify some points of fact here with the board that, you know, not only Rick Abbey, Dave Deming, and Ken Wertenberger were involved in this. I don't care about any credit or anything like that, but the facts are the facts on this.
What facts are you saying that we have wrong?
You said that Rick Abbey, Ken Wertenberger, Dave Deming.
Well, no, Dave Deming, that was my error. Dave Deming worked on all the plots in 6 through 8. He did not work on the water. We had 2 separate groups doing each one. So Dave, forget I said Dave Deming. So
Okay.
other than that, what did I do wrong?
You didn't say anything wrong.
Okay, all right.
Well, maybe I better inform these because I was at the meetings.
No, I understand, but you came up there and said, what you said is not true.
Yeah.
That's what you said. So I'm thinking, okay, then what did I say that wasn't true?
Right.
All right.
You're fine. Okay.
So bottom line is we got good water pressure.
Bottom line is we have adequate water pressure throughout the gardens to fight an anticipated fire.
And that was the objective of the thing.
And the other thing that you carry away from this is that there could be a possible problem with the individual regulator at a residence causing a low pressure at that particular home. And I think David is one of those that's having some problems, and he's in the process of looking into that.
What about circulating pump in your house? I got one in mine that keeps my pressure going.
Circulating pump will not increase your water pressure.
It'll push it faster.
Now that's to heat your water all the way around.
Hmm?
The circulating pump is for your hot water to stay hot.
Well, that's what I've got, and if that's what you're talking about,
That's not
it
a-
doesn't
that's not a
change your water.
increaser.
It won't change your water pressure, it just gets you hot water to faucets immediately.
It pushes it through faster.
No, it doesn't push it
No, it
through.
really
It
doesn't.
circulates it. It just circulates your hot water. That's all it does. It doesn't push it any faster.
The pump that they use for that is so minor that it's,
We talked a lot about this water pressure. We use the numbers, if I can understand. What PSI do we say is adequate? Just, I mean, instead of using, oh, it's high or low,
according,
what number are we saying?
according to
This
the,
number is adequate. What is that number?
according to the report, all the hydrants, every hydrant in here is capable of putting out between 500 and 999 gallons of water per minute at a sustained pressure of over 45 pounds.
To your question, Dave, to your question.
I'm addressing the question that people in Holly Tree say they have low water pressure. My question is, what, for, not the fire hydrants,
Okay.
am I, when I turn on the faucet, what, or when I measure the pressure in my system statically, what should I expect?
But they say it's 45 to 90 PSI, and the minimum required by the state is 20 PSI.
So I live in Holly Tree, and my residential is It's higher than that.
That's what they say.
If I live in Holly Tree and my pressure is above 45, I don't have a legitimate complaint. Right?
That's correct.
Now, you do need to be careful because if you have a pressure regulator in your house.
I understand that affects it.
Right.
The report says, that at entry point, the pressures are higher than 90 PSI, and at the end of Holly Tree, the city has taken water pressure readings and confirms daytime water pressures are being maintained at approximately 90 PSI.
Well, the range, right, 45 to 90, because, and so the issue of how did that,
So if we're above 45, that's not caused by a faulty regulator, and we don't have an issue.
correct.
That's true.
Before we go to the,
That's easy to test, that's why if somebody complains about it, it's a really easy test to say, it's a really legitimate problem or not.
For example, in my house, exterior water pressure is okay,
Probably no scratch.
and,
We've had enough boys.
but
We've had enough.
out of the sinks,
Static, I'm talking about static.
but out of the sinks, it's not adequate, and I'm not sure whether there's fixtures, some control that we did there. But I have adequate pressure in the house.
Okay.
before we go to that, could I just say something? Last Saturday, we had coffee, and actually Steve and I were the only ones who were planning on being there, but we had several board members. We had 21 members of the community at the coffee. And I thought we had a really fruitful conversation. Questions were asked, and it was really awesome. So I know that we're planning on doing them so that we can continue the conversation about whatever, it's kind of an open floor. But I just wanted to thank the people who did come. We had mostly folks from 1 to 5, phases 1 to 5, and we had 3 folks from 8. So, everybody's welcome, and, bring concerns or accolades or whatever, but.
Or if you just want to chat.
Yes, but it was really nice. So thanks for being there, and consider coming.
And on that line, Bert, thank you for the information you shared with us at our coffee meeting. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Does anybody in the audience have anything they want to
Well,
bring
actually,
up?
can I just bring up something real quick?
Sure.
Driving down here from my house on Holly Tree, I noticed that there are houses that are starting to get quite a bit of mildew on the siding. And this is just a reminder, people, to keep one, we all want to keep the gardens looking beautiful, but you do, as a homeowner, you do have a responsibility to power wash your siding every so often, so you don't get this horrible
I
mildew.
was gonna bring up doing a letter.
To add to yours, there's a lot of driveways that need to be cleaned. There's a lot of mold on them. And I'd like to bring up a portion of Tim's garden, where he has all the garbage cans in the front, that little wooden building he put in front of his office. That needs to be pressure washed, and I feel that he should get a letter, because he's not gonna do anything unless he gets a letter saying this has to be done within 30 days. If not, we're gonna do it. We have that in our policies, I believe.
DCR.
Well,
Or
in the
DCR.
back of the office needs power washed, and.
I mean, it looks like
Hill looks awful.
900 years old, that building, and it's all, needs to be
Well, you
pressure
gotta
washed.
be real careful with that. It's not in the gardens.
Yeah, it's not in the garden.
No. It's in his own personal property.
So the hill there is not part of the
The
garden?
hill is not part of the gardens.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Mulvis Hill is not part of the garden thing.
I was not aware of that. Thank you.
But it does not look good.
But it would be a good recommendation
Yeah.
to at least ask him, not send him a letter because he doesn't have, but at least a good recommendation.
I'm not sure how to do it, but as Steve said, I wanted to do a letter to everyone about reminding them of the DCRs and their responsibility. And after 30 days, if the homes and the driveways that are bad, then we follow up with individual letters to the individual homeowner.
Instead of a letter, how about if we just put it out on a bulletin board?
Okay, bulletin board, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put out a friendly reminder.
Right.
Bill, had you say another?
When we cut a tree, do we replant a tree in its place?
We haven't in the past, but it's a good idea.
It's up to you, you're a homeowner.
Well,
No, I
these,
think it's on HOA
these
property.
on HOA
Talking
property.
about common area.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
Yeah, actually anywhere. We've
Not a
got
bad idea.
property owners that don't want trees near their house, so they're tearing down perfectly healthy trees. Been there for 50 years. I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's
There's a large dead tree out on Red Oak, next to the Hoddle residence, as you come in. That's something Tim needs to take care of.
we don't own it, and it's on Tim's property.
Right.
You don't care.
I'd like to see it gone, but it can be brought up to Tim. Bring it up in one of our next meetings. Yeah. Hey, Bill,
I'll address that too.
It's just a
recommendation. All of Homeless Hill needs to be, cleaned up a bit.
the young man was working on it. I don't know if he still is or not. But I know that he's done quite a bit of work on Homeless Hill, but there's still more to do. You're right.
Weeds.
Which is something, first impressions when they come in to
That's true.
talk to Lois, that's the first thing they see.
Well, is there any other items that members of the organization would like to bring up at this time?
This one, you know the fence that runs down along this way,
Mhm.
and it's the opening, can that get fixed? Because I've already talked to a young fellow and his wife the other day about fishing in the pond. Well, it's not supposed to. He said, F you. His landlord said it's okay.
His who did?
His landlord.
Oh.
And he lives across the way. And I told him, read the sign, read the bottom line on the sign.
Yeah.
He's fishing at the
And that's when he
pond.
said, F you, I'll take the
Oh, that's
sign.
fine.
We don't own the pond.
Gary's fishing.
He's fishing
in
at
this pond.
this pond? Well, he'll die soon, so it's not a problem.
No, he didn't catch anything.
No,
There is one young man that's renting from Tommy Adams that periodically.
Not anymore.
not anymore. He's gone.
Oh, okay, all right.
To answer your question, yes, it probably can be. We'll need to put that on the agenda for some time because it will be an expense under the HOA.
What do we need?
The repair of the perimeter fence along the phase one, or actually, no, not phase one, along the east.
Can I bring up
West pond.
something? There is actually an MOA dated sometime in 2018 that specifically states that the HOA will not be involved in any perimeter fence.
No, that's true, except that we own this piece of property. So we are involved.
Okay,
Yeah.
because it's supposed to be
Like-
between the homeowner and,
If,
okay.
yeah, on the back of my property, when I built, we stipulated that they put up a privacy fence because the property behind us was a total wreck. And,
Okay,
that's my nickel. I have to take care of it. But this one belongs to the HOA. It's on the HOA land. So
all right, different story.
we'll take care of it. But, we'll need to get an estimate from somebody to see about that repair. Thing is, crossing that creek with the fence, the reason it was taken down in the short section just over the creek, it gets full of debris, becomes a dam, and takes out the entire fence. So that's why part of it was missing. I don't know how much I haven't been over there, so I don't know how much is missing now.
I don't think it's that close to, it's straight over that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I don't think it's,
We'll
I
have-
don't think it's in
we'll have to-
the brook.
We'll get a look at it and find out how many feet of fence or whatever, and get somebody to give us some estimates on it. Is there anything else? That being said,
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
Great job, Ed.
Have